Adolescents and young adults represent a growing share of the number of people living with HIV and AIDS worldwide. According to a UNICEF report, 510,000 young people between the ages of 10 to 24 were newly infected with HIV in 2018 alone. In Ghana, recent data published by the Ghana AIDS Commission shows 19,931 new infections were recorded in 2018 alone, out of which 16,614 were adolescents and young adults between the ages of 15 and above.
Amongst the adolescents, we've seen that the number of infections are rising a bit. In 2017, we realized that we had about 20,000 adolescents living with HIV worldwide.
In this documentary, I put the spotlight on the surge in HIV infection amongst adolescents and young adults as I bring you stories of young people living with HIV. "20-year-old Akosia, as I choose to call her, is one of the over 316,000 students who sat for the 2018 West African Senior School Certificate Examination. Days before the examination, all Form 3 students were asked to assemble at the dining hall. Medical practitioners from a non-governmental organization had come to lecture them on HIV and AIDS. For Akosia, it will be the first time she gets tested.
So after they were done with the talk, they told us to go and test. So I went to test and it was negative. So I was free, I went away.
Whilst the results were finally out, but contrary to expectations, Akosia failed in 2 core subjects and had to resit the exams. Her parents could barely afford her fees the first time. Paying for another was beyond their means. Akosia started her own business selling noodles at night with the hope that she would be able to gather enough money to resit the exams. It was on one of those fateful nights that she met Kofi, a man in his 40s, who offered to help, but at a price.
I had no support, so I was working. That's where I met the man, and he said the way I'm hardworking, he wants to help me. So he guaranteed to pay for my fees, my remedial fee. So he gave me the money to go and register. And later on, he invited me to his house. I went to his house. I didn't know what came, and we had sexual intercourse.
Intergenerational sex occurs when a young woman decides to have intercourse with a man 5 or more years older, and vice versa.
When we talk of sexual transmission, our understanding of it now is the fact that the young people, especially girls, whose sexual debut is before age 15, they are at risk. And then we also know that from the data we have, there is suggestion that there is intergenerational sex ongoing in the country, and girls who are involved in intergenerational sex are also at risk.
Months after their intercourse, Akosia started experiencing unusual symptoms.
I started falling sick here and there. When I go to the hospital, the doctor said nothing was wrong with me. And they don't even give me medicine. Sometimes I'll come to the house, I'll be crying, then be praying. I had an anointing oil. That's what I'll be drinking small. So later on, the sickness went away, but it came back again. And With that one, it came with rashes. So I started applying creams to it, but still it was becoming worse. So I took it to the hospital. When I went to the hospital, they did tests, blood tests, and the doctor said I'm having infections. So he gave me some medicine and he also prescribed some for me, and I went to go and buy.
Doctors told Akosua her symptoms pointed to a stubborn vaginal infection. But even after completing the prescribed dosage, Akosua's condition deteriorated further. Fed up, she decided to do her own research.
I took my phone and I googled causes of infections. And when I googled the signs and symptoms, it was different from what I was experiencing. So something came into my mind to search for, let's say, causes of HIV is. So when I searched, it was the same symptoms I was experiencing.
So, Akosua decided to get tested again. This time, the results would change her life forever.
I went and it was HIV-1 positive and HIV-2 negative. At first, I wanted to die. I can't sleep at night. I'll be crying the whole day. I'll go and hide at the washroom, then I'll be crying. Because even though I'm not all that old, but what I have been through since childhood till now, sometimes I feel sad. I don't see the essence of me coming to this life. I wanted to give up, but I told myself everything happened for a reason.
A 2016 UNAIDS report indicates that unprotected sex is the most common cause of HIV infection among young people, and young women are twice likely to acquire the infection as young men. Akosua is now on antiretroviral therapy.
He screamed, he shouted. He was like, "What am I telling him?" And I said yes. And he asked me, "What about my previous guy?" And I said, I was dating him. And before I even quit, after I quit with him, I went to run out the test and I was negative. And so he asked me that means that he's the one who. And I said, I don't know. But, I don't know. He started talking, at that moment, he kept quiet. But now, he didn't know what to do. So I was crying. More than 1 hour, he was sitting on his steer, the car, at the back of his steer. Later on, he googled on his phone that I should check people with HIV. That's not the end of my life. It's not. I was talking plain.
The fear surrounding HIV back in the 90s, when the virus broke out in most African countries, largely persists today. As a result, people living with the virus are stigmatized. It's startling how one night can change the course of one's life.
HIV exists. They have to be careful. Anytime they want to have sex, because it can happen. It can happen. They have to use protection. They have to use condom to protect yourself because they don't know the status of their partner.
The slums of Ashaman is where 22-year-old Mabna grew up. Mabna's mother is a petty trader, and for reasons unclear to Mabna, her father left home and never came back. Saddled with the responsibility of catering for her children, Mabna's mother spent most of her day at the market. At age 15, Mabna was already acquainted with the nightlife, drinking, smoking, and partying at nightclubs. At 16, she had her first sex.
My sister, and I call Ashaman Estates. I call boy, no, a bra, also a pemy. And I'll cast it on them a better. I'm see you near Matty, or so about the woman Busian for.
Months later, Mabna realized she was pregnant.
I call community hospital. No mama direction. They say member and see. I'm not sure letter mama say member and see. I will have you young markets. Now me the bar and see. And I'm check it. Mo check and I'm catch them say. Minya me a friend saying. And more one be. It's no mama me do. It's in kakana. Oh mammy do no. Me the away.
Until her pregnancy, Mabna did not know her status and never bothered to get tested. She tells me she had heard of the virus but didn't know it was real.
Oh, Charlie, that's my friend over there. Hey, Azoto! Hey, Azoto!
What's up?
Charlie, how? Charlie,
Ade.
did you go for the test we talked about the other time?
Oh, yeah, man, I do them simple.
Oh, you do one?
Oh, I do them.
Hey, Azoto!
I do one.
Charlie, this is
I do
great.
one. I do one.
Oh, guys, pardon. This is my friend Azoto, another bold, wise person who is just taking the HIV test.
Wow!
Commercials like these are supposed to sensitize young girls like Mabna about the need to get tested. But over the years, awareness campaigns seem to have declined.
The Ghana AIDS Commission is not sleeping. We are working in spite of all the challenges that we have. Media is an important partner in this, and we will be happy to work with the media to intensify the prevention campaigns.
Following strict medical procedures, Mabna's child came out negative. He is now 4 years old. Her partner, also a carrier, chose to be by her and support the child. According to the 2018 report by the Ghana AIDS Commission, there are 335,000 people living with HIV and AIDS in Ghana. The Commission, however, envisaged the number could be more, as there are still young people who do not know their status. Medical practitioners recommend you get tested at least every 3 months. With a rapid test kit system, you can get to know your status within 15 minutes. Do you know your status? I took to the streets to find out from young people.
Yes, I've ever gotten tested for HIV. My first testing was in 2015. Well, I can't say it on camera, but certain situations led me to test for HIV. Then I did it subsequently in the year 2018 when I enrolled at Ghana Institute of Journalism for school. Yes, I'm in a relationship and it's sexual.
I got tested for HIV/AIDS. That was last month, 13th August 2019. And I will entreat all you to also check theirs and see where their status lies.
I haven't gotten tested yet, but I'm planning on getting tested this weekend.
I have tested for HIV and I did it, that was last month. And it's my second time testing after testing last year, 2018.
I've never tested for HIV/AIDS. I haven't tested because I have not felt the need to, and I'm not in a relationship. So probably it could be one of the causes that have not prompted me yet to check.
Yeah, July, I got tested for the HIV because I needed to know my status. The circumstance that led me to have that test is me trying to know my status as a young girl, because I believe providing young people with the skill they need is the key to a healthy decision making.
The HIV test, the rapid test takes less than or most 15 minutes to get the results.
Aisha's fate was decided at birth. Both parents had HIV, so Aisha was born HIV positive. At age 3, Aisha's father died. Her mother relocated to a different town, leaving her with her aunt in Kumasi.
na mo 8 years na me ta yare nti no mo hu adakro ne chere na mo de me hospital sa mo hu adakro ha me na ofle mo de me so fi ya koda almost 3 years na sana so for no catch me antini say na papa ya chance HIV ne ha me na so for na kasa my pipes bi o try hospital no pipes ne de ko agogo atonso agogo hospital I'm go check HIV.
At the time, Aisha was too young to comprehend what she was going through, so her aunt kept it a secret until she became a teenager.
When it comes to children, you can't disclose to a child that is 3 years or 10 years. It's whereby the child is from 12 years up to 20 years. That's where you can disclose the person's HIV status to her.
Aisha is now living with her uncle here in Accra. She dropped out of school due to stigma.
Because of what says I am, so much as from mommy did you capra and
in Ghana, the first case of HIV was recorded in 1986. Since then, the number of infected persons have risen steadily. In 2013, the United Nations introduced what it calls the 1990 Agenda in an attempt to get the epidemic under control. The idea is that by 2020, 90% of people who are HIV infected will be diagnosed. 90 of those diagnosed will be on antiretroviral treatment, and 90 of those on treatment will be virally suppressed, reducing the spread of the infection. Ghana is struggling to achieve the target. Director of the Ghana AIDS Commission, Stephen Treme Etwahene, explains why.
So far, for the first 90, that which relates to know your status, we have achieved 66.5%. So all persons, 66.5% of all persons living with HIV in Ghana knows their status. For the second 90, we have achieved 45.5%, which means 45.5% of people who know their status are on treatment. And why is that? A number of reasons can explain this situation. Number one is the fact that many people are in denial, as I said earlier on. Many also would want a permanent solution. Instead of taking medicines every day or being on treatment for life, they will want a cure. And so when they hear of any claim for a cure for HIV, they rush to those places. So we are seeing quite a number of people doing what we call healing shopping. They move from one place to another trying to get healing. But until now, we do not know of any medicine that works better, whether it is herbal or orthodox medicine, that works better than the antiretroviral medicines. We are currently at 16.2%. The reason is that we use laboratories to actually test for the viral load. And we don't have many of such machines in Ghana. And so we are not able to test everybody to know their viral load levels. And presently, Global Fund has given us some machines for both that can be used for both TB and HIV. We call them gene experts. So they are in the country and we are now going to use them.
To prevent future rise in infection, Mr. Treme says every Ghanaian has a role to play.
You can prevent HIV only when you know your status. If you don't know that you have HIV and you say, oh, you are preventing it, when in fact you have the virus already, it will be a useless effort. And so it is important for everybody to test first. The best way of prevention, the first step is to test, to know your HIV status.
The stories of Akosua, Mabna and Aisha represents the dozens of infected young people around the world. They have this advice to share.
Me, what I told them is that, one, they should always try not to have unprotected sex. And two, they shouldn't be influenced by money. No matter the amount of money the person will give them, they should be content in life and they shouldn't rush.
Mede de me wa metumi aka che omo an se mo fo mo bibia to nya akoko enim se de omo tete ni atete omo de ye omo nyina no hwe na omo nsu ana hwe na omo ran ho na okra no re ho a enne be boy yare mo.
The Ghana AIDS Commission, in its 2018 report, projects that there will be 17,649 new infections and 11,908 AIDS deaths by the end of 2019. The first step to protecting yourself and family is to know your status. Get tested today.